Hello students, myself Vinita Kumbhar, teacher in Department of Mathematics, DS Ferguson College, Pune. Welcome you all. In the previous lecture, we solved the sums from exercise 3.2, chapter number 3, trigonometric functions. In today's lecture, again we try the remaining sums from exercise 3.2 using PowerPoint presentation. In the previous lecture, we solved question number 8 in triangle ABC. If A cos A equal to B cos B, then prove that the right angled or an isosceles triangle. So these were the steps we tried by the method, if you are able to recall. But as I told you, we can try the same sum by another method. So let us see the second method for the same sum. This form of the sine rule you know. A upon sine A is equal to B upon sine B is equal to C upon sine C is equal to K. The rule you will have to mention by sine rule. Now look at the term A upon sine A is equal to K. So we write A is equal to K sine A. We cross multiply sine A with K and we have A is equal to K sine A. Similarly, B upon sine B is equal to K. Therefore, cross multiply sine B with K. We have B is equal to K sine B. What is given to you? A cos A is equal to B cos B. This is given to you. Therefore, in place of A, we write K sine A. See, this is in place of we wrote K sine A. In place of B, we write K sine B. So this is K sine B and cos B as it is. We cancel K from both the sides because the product is there on both the sides. So we cancel this K and we left with sine A cos A is equal to sine B cos B. Let us multiply both the sides of the equation by 2. So we have 2 sine A cos A is equal to 2 sine B cos B. Now this formula is familiar with you, and that is sine 2A is equal to sine 2B. Now we simplify this equation. We write down the term on RHS to LHS, and therefore we have sine 2A minus sine 2B is equal to 0. Now here we use the factorization formula that you had done last year. Sin C minus sin D, this formula you had done. Sin C minus sin D is equal to 2 cos C plus D by 2 into sin C minus D by 2. This is called as the factorization formula. So instead of C and D, we have 2A and 2B. So we apply the factorization formula to have this step, that is 2 times cos of 2A plus 2B upon 2, addition of these two angles divided by 2, into sine of difference of the angles divided by 2. So we write that as 2A minus 2B upon 2, and RHS is 0, as it is we write. Okay. Now the next step is 2 into. We simplify the bracket. This is 2 and this 2 gets cancelled with each other if we take 2 common from the numerator. Similarly here we take 2 common from the numerator and we cancel with the denominator. So the simplified term is 2 as it is, cos of A plus B and sine of A minus B is equal to 0. Very easy to understand. Now this A plus B we write as pi minus C. Why? Because we know A plus B plus C is equal to pi. Okay. Which is the angle we need? A plus B is equal to pi. This term C we write to RHS. That becomes pi minus C. Further we need what? Cos of pi minus C. So let us see what is cos of pi minus C. You know cos of 180 minus theta. Okay, because of pi, cos remains cos. Now we'll have to fix the sign, whether it is positive or negative. Pi minus c means which quadrant? Second quadrant. Here in the second quadrant, only sine and cosec are positive. All the remaining trigonometric ratios are negative. So, cos of pi minus c we will get as minus of cos c using the rules of allied angles. Clear? So, here we use the rules of allied angle and we replace cos of pi minus c by minus of cos c. This term sine of a minus b as it is. Now this minus 2, look at minus 2. We cross multiply with RHS. Then we have cos c into sine of a minus b. Cos c into sine a minus b is equal to 0. Why? Because minus 2 is not 0. Therefore, this is equal to 0. So, either cos c equal to 0 or sine of a minus b is equal to 0. So, we got these two factors and we equate to 0. So, if cos c is 0, what should be the angle c? Cos of 90 degrees is 0, you know. Therefore, c is equal to 90 degrees, or you may write pi by 2. And sine of a minus b equal to 0. Sine of which angle is 0? Sine of 0 is 0. So, a minus b is equal to 0. This you know. No need to write in the solution. Directly write c is equal to 90 degrees or a minus b is equal to 0. Therefore, what is the conclusion we have? C equal to 90 degrees or a is equal to b. So, what we can conclude? Therefore, the triangle is either a right angled or an isosceles triangle, because a is equal to b you got na. The two angles are equal, therefore the side opposite to those are again equal. Two sides are equal, therefore isosceles triangle, and C is 90 degrees, therefore it is right angled triangle. Clear? So in this way we can try the same sum by different methods. So let us have the next sum. Question number 9 or sum number 9 with the usual notations show that 2 into bracket BC cos A plus AC cos B plus AB cos C is equal to A square plus B square plus C square. Now before solving any problem, you will have to think little bit whether it is convenient to start with LHS or RHS. Here we start with LHS. 2 times BC cos A. We open the bracket. First write down this term as it is and then open the bracket. 2BC cos A plus 2AC cos B plus 2 times AB cos C. Okay. Now here this 2BC we keep as it is, and for cos A we use cosine rule, which is B square plus C square minus A square upon 2BC. We keep 2AC as it is and we write the formula for cos of B, cosine rule, which is C square plus A square minus B square upon 2AC. Similarly, 2AB as it is and cosine rule for cos C, which is A square plus B square minus C square upon 2AB. So, all the three terms cos A, cos B and cos C we replaced using cosine rule. Now, see this 2BC and 2BC gets cancelled, right? 2AC and this 2AC also gets cancelled. 2AB and 2AB as well. All the terms gets cancelled and we left with the bracket in the numerator only, that is B square plus C square minus A square, C square plus A square minus B square and A square plus B square minus C square. So we write all the terms here. Now see the similar terms with opposite sign. So we have this as B square and minus B square gets cancelled. Then plus C square and minus c square also gets cancelled. Then minus a square plus a square gets cancelled. Okay, and we left with c, a square plus b square plus c square. So with these terms we left with, and which is nothing but RHS. Is the idea clear? So remember, the same sums we can try by the different methods. Now the third article from this chapter is the inverse trigonometric functions, which is very important topic, because this you need in calculus. Actually trigonometry is very important in calculus, so all the concepts must be very clear. Now the trigonometric functions, the concept you already done in standard 11. Inverse of the function also you had done in standard 11. Suppose the function is given from a to b. F is the function from a to b. This is the notation for the function to denote, where a is the domain of the function and b is codomain of the function. See, all these things we have done. The notation of the function, what is the meaning of the domain, what is the meaning of the range, what is the meaning of codomain, etc. Now the question is whether the inverse for all functions exist. Actually the answer you already studied. Try to recall those. For all functions, its inverse is not possible. So what are the conditions for the function to have its inverse? We must have two conditions. What are those? If the function is 1 and onto function, then only its inverse exists, right? So this condition you already know. If the function is 1 and onto, then only its inverse exists, and that inverse again we denote by the symbol F inverse from B to A. These notations you already know. The very important condition is function is 1 and onto. Let us see what is the meaning of 1 and onto function. So this is the Venn diagram called as, this is the domain, this is the codomain, and this is the function f from A to B. Now these elements A, B, C and D are from the domain, whereas 1, 2, 3, 4 are from the codomain. We can read this Venn diagram as A corresponds to 1, B corresponds to 2, C corresponds to 3 and D corresponds to 4. Now how to check the function is 1 and onto? We'll have to recall the definition of 1 function. 1 function is what? The function in which each and every element from the set A has unique image in the set B. Similarly, each and every image in the set B has unique pre-image in the set A. There is 1 correspondence from both sides. So that function is called as 1 function. Every element in the domain must have the unique image in the codomain, and every image in the range must have unique pre-image in the domain. So that is called as 1 function. Let us have onto function, the definition of onto function. The very easiest method to check the function as onto function is the range. Range means the set 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the range of the function. And the codomain is capital B, that is the set B. If range is equal to codomain, then the function is called as onto function. So this is the example for the function which is 1 and onto. So if the function is of this form, then only we can find its inverse, and that inverse is denoted by this symbol F inverse from B to A. Make it a point that in the inverse function, the domain of the function A becomes the range of F inverse, and range of the function f, that is b, becomes the domain of f inverse. So this is the notation to have the inverse function, or you may write if y equal to fx, then x is equal to f inverse y. Vice versa, if x is equal to f inverse y, we can write y is equal to fx. So what we will have to keep in mind? For the trigonometric functions to have its inverse, the trigonometric functions must be 1, 1 and onto functions. But if you see the trigonometric function, for example, say sine function, y is equal to sine x. Remember, y equal to sine x or y equal to cos x or y equal to tan x or the remaining functions all are periodic in nature, and because of the periodicity, for infinitely many angles you will get the same value. Means what? The many arrows from the domain goes to only one value, so the function becomes many one function. Therefore, the inverse of such trigonometric functions which are many one we cannot find. But does it mean that the inverse does not exist? No, we can't say like that. What we'll have to do is, we will have to put the restrictions on the trigonometric functions so that the function becomes 1, 1 and onto function. So this is very, very important condition you will have to remember. Now this you already done in standard 11. This is the list of the functions we have with their domain and the range. And this is the period of the function. Period means after some interval of length or after some interval, the values of the trigonometric functions repeats. Those are called as the periods of the function. So for sine function, the period is 2 pi. Therefore, sine theta plus 2n pi are having the same values. Means if you consider theta is equal to say pi by 6, then sine pi by 6 is equal to sine pi by 6 plus 2 pi, which is equal to sine pi by 6 plus 4 pi, which is equal to sine pi by 6 plus 6 pi, or you may write pi by 6 plus or minus 2n pi, where n is the integer. So this function is many one function. Okay, what is the domain of the function? This you are done. We'll take the rapid revision on this. For sine function, the domain is the set of reals and the range is the closed interval -1 to 1. Okay, means angle may be anything. Theta is any real number, then sine of that real number always takes the values from -1 to +1. That is the meaning, domain and the range. Now cos theta, cosine function. For this also, the domain is set of reals and the range is the closed interval -1 to +1. Meaning is again the same. Theta is any real number. Cos of theta takes the value from -1 to +1. And remember the period also. Now for tangent function. For tangent function, the domain is r minus 2n plus 1 times pi by 2, where this n belongs to z. N belongs to z means n is any integer. If I put n as any integer here in the bracket, and if I simplify, you will get odd multiples of pi by 2. For example, if I put n is equal to 1 here, you will get 2 into 1, that is 2 plus 1, that is 3 pi by 2. If I put n is equal to say 5, you will get 5 2s are 10 plus 1, that is 11 pi by 2. You may have negative integers also. You may put n equal to 0. If I put n equal to 0, you will get pi by 2. So all such angles which are odd multiples of pi by 2, you will have to delete from the set of real numbers. You will have to exclude from the set of real numbers, and whatever angles left is nothing but the domain of tangent function. But after all, that is again a real number. But from those real numbers, we will have to exclude such type of numbers, that is odd multiples of pi by 2. And the range is any real number. So the range we can say is the set of real numbers, and the period of the tangent function is pi. Okay, let us move to the cotangent function. For cotangent function also, we have to exclude these type of angles which are n pi in nature, that is n belongs to z, n is any integer. Why? Because this cot theta we write as cos upon sine, right? And the denominator must be non-zero. If I consider sine 180 degrees, sine 180 degrees is always 0. So that becomes undefined. So whenever you are having n pi, the denominator becomes 0 for cot theta as cos upon sine. Therefore we exclude the angles n pi where n belongs to z. And therefore the domain of cotangent function is r minus the set of integers, that is n pi. Okay, that n may be positive or negative integer or may be 0. The range of cotangent function is the set of reals, and the period of the function is pi. Now let us move to second function. Now second function means sec theta, for example, if you consider, or sec x, any variable you can use. What is the domain? This is again like the tangent function, r minus the set of the numbers of the type 2n plus 1 into pi by 2, n belongs to z, n is the integer. So if I put again n is equal to 0 here, you will get 2 into 0 plus 1, that is 1 into pi by 2, that is pi by 2. If I put n is equal to 1, you will get 2 plus 1, the bracket as 2 plus 1, which is 3, and the angle is 3 pi by 2. If I put n is equal to minus 1, you will get minus 2 here, minus 2 plus 1 is minus pi by 2. So for all such angles, this second function is not defined. Why? Because sec theta is 1 upon cos theta, right? And the denominator is cos theta. If I put, for example, theta as pi by 2, that becomes cos 90 degrees, and cos 90 degree is always 0, you know. So the denominator becomes 0, and thus sec or the second function is not defined for odd multiples of pi by 2. So from the set of reals, we will have to exclude the angles which are odd multiples of pi by 2, and that we write in this form. So remember, for the second function, this is the domain. From set of reals, exclude the set of the form 2n plus 1 into pi by 2. Now the range. The range is r minus the open interval minus 1 to 1. Actually, I'll explain this with the graph in the next slide. R minus minus 1 to 1. And this is period, which is equal to 2 pi. Now cosecant function. Cosecant function is, the domain is r minus, cosecant function means cosec theta. The domain is what? R minus n pi, n belongs to z. This minus sign is for what? You will have to exclude all the angles of the type n pi where n is any integer. Why? Because again cosec theta is 1 upon sin theta, and that sin theta must be non-zero. But if we put n is equal to any integer, then that becomes sin of n pi, and sin n pi is always 0 if n belongs to z. So these angles we exclude. What is the range? Range is again from the set of reals. You will have to exclude the open interval minus 1 to 1, and the period is 2 pi. So this table you already done, but to study the inverse functions of all these trigonometric functions, you will have to remember all these, the domain, the range, and the period. So once again, I repeat, sin theta or sine function, the domain is set of reals, the range is closed interval minus 1 to 1, the period is 2 pi. Cosine function, domain is the set of reals, the range is closed interval -1 to 1, the period is 2 pi. Then tangent function, from the set of reals we exclude all odd multiples of pi by 2, that we write in this form. The range is any real number, so the range is the set of reals we write, and the period is pi. Cotangent function, the domain is from the set of reals, we will have to exclude n pi, that is written in this form. The range is set of any real numbers and the period is pi. Okay. Second function, domain is r minus 2n plus 1 bracket into pi by 2, n belongs to z. Range is r minus, this is the open interval, -1 to 1, and the period is 2 pi. Cosecant function, r minus n pi, n belongs to z, and this is r minus -1 to 1. The range is from the set of reals we exclude the open interval -1 to 1, and the period is 2 pi. Okay, as I told you, all these functions are periodic in nature. Then for infinitely many angles, value of sine function or cos function or tan function or cot function or maybe sec or cosec, the value remains the same because of the period of the function. Therefore, each of the function becomes many one function, and therefore we cannot find inverse of such functions. So to study the inverse functions, you will have to put the restrictions on the domain of each of the function so that the function is one function. Now the question is, what about onto function? Remember, all the trigonometric functions are onto. Why? Because here the range is given to you. So for each of the values from the range, there must be some angle. Therefore, the functions are onto functions. The question is how to put the restrictions on the domain so that the function becomes 1. To understand the concept, so we consider the graph to find out the inverse of these functions. I hope you have understood the concept of trigonometric functions, their domain and the range. We'll have to revise all these things to study inverse trigonometric functions. Thank you.